What's going on, YouTube? We got plenty of news today. We got politics, finance, all of it, all wrapped into one. Government shutdown ended for now. So if you were worried about that, worry no more. If your life was heavily impacted one way or the other, at least temporarily, you're good. They've agreed to sign their CR, their continuing resolution, to fund everything as it's been funded until the end of January. So to get us through the holidays, I guess. And then the government might shut down again. So we'll get there when we get there. I'm not really going to speculate on that too much. I know the healthcare stuff that they were arguing about, basically it was just agreed upon. It'll come up to a vote at a later date. In the meantime, fund the government. Government's open. On the funny side of things, the White House's official Twitter account comes out last night as the government reopens, and they said, "We're so back." Trying to be funny, trendy. Whoever the fuck runs their Twitter account is just apparently a moron. And then today, the stock market tanks pretty solidly. Red everywhere. Everything's down. Bitcoin's down. Bitcoin's down under $100,000 now. Again, I know I was watching Tesla specifically, but Tesla dropped. I don't know what it ended up at the end of the day, but it was down like 8% at one point today, 7 or 8%. All the big tech and AI stocks had a rough day today. Nvidia down, Tesla, Facebook, all the good ones, all the ones you know, all have a rough day today. Not because the government shutdown is over, but because of another interesting thing. The government and the White House decided to come out and say, "Hey, that October jobs report and inflation data, you're just never going to get it. I don't think we're ever going to release it." And we've talked about it before on the channel, but the stock market doesn't like uncertainty. What's more uncertain than the government coming out and saying, "Yeah, like, you know, the certified data we give you guys every month to base your predictions and things off of? Well, what if we just don't give it to you?" And they're trying to hide this behind, "Hey, the government was shut down, we don't have the data, blah, blah, blah." In reality, everybody's actual thoughts are, holy shit, the numbers are really bad. They would rather take the hit of everybody being like, what is happening? They're not going to release the data than actually release the data on what inflation is and what the jobs data is. I mean, people are predicting that the United States during the whole shutdown lost 11,000 jobs per day. Obviously, there's monetary value associated with the government being shut down and things like that. They're all kind of estimates. I don't really think they're that much worth talking about, to be honest. It's kind of pure speculation. Not pure, but pretty close in my opinion. So I'm not going to talk about it too much. The real problem is saying you're not going to release the data scared everybody. I think that's my going theory why the stock market had a serious rough day today. And just like the rest of our economy, the consumer economy, the main part, is propped up on debt. The stock market is also propped up on debt and fueled by emotions of the people that run these hedge funds and trading algorithms and all these other kinds of things. So there's always something interesting going on. Basically, the stock market ran on debt, just like consumer economy is propped up on debt. Right now, we're at maybe an inflection point. Who knows? We'll see. The future will tell, I guess. But there's plenty of people propped up on margin and debt in the stock market, buying these companies up. I know it was a big news story there a couple weeks ago where they're showing this Nvidia cloud of money, basically, where this money gets circulated into all these different stocks, basically not actually doing anything, but because people are buying things and then their stock value goes up, they loan against their stock value, take loans out against their stock value, they pump that into a different company that recirculates the money back around to the other company, and it seems like it's a giant shell game of moving the money around to inflate these stock prices. And a lot of these AI companies, these tech companies that are all about AI nowadays, either are in or are in all these situations where they're in tons of debt. They're not actually making any money. I know that's a popular thing for big companies to do, where they IPO. They try to price out their competition by offering it at a low price. Uber and Lyft did this and things like that. The rideshare companies were real famous for doing this. But these AI companies aren't actually making as much money as people think. They're in huge amounts of debt. and their stock values are what's basically bringing in any money. They're selling stock to bring in income. They're not actually making money off the AI products. I don't know about you. Let me know in the comments if you're actually using any of this stuff. I've tried to use Copilot a little bit here and there at work and things like that. It's all right. I mean, it kind of works barely. You use the Google AI when you Google something, it's kind of wrong half the time, and I'll use Grok every once in a while for fun to summarize something. To me, this isn't the most useful thing in the world yet, and maybe it'll come to that, but as of right now, I think we are deep into the AI bubble in terms of the stock market. And I mean, they've been pushing for a while now for the Fed to cut rates and turn the money printer back on, basically to keep the racket going, keep the highest stock market. We're at all-time highs pretty much right now in the stock market, to keep this rolling. The problem is going to be if it falls and it fails, it will cascade, I think. These AI companies, like I said, they're propped up on debt. As soon as a couple of them tumble, the people who have loaned the money out to them start calling all their money back home. And every single time, I mean, this has happened multiple times where people just get a little bit too big for their britches. 2008, I wasn't really old enough to be paying that much attention to it in the housing market, but obviously bad debt was the cause of this. That crash, .com bubble, overvalued companies that just didn't do shit, as far as I understand, is the most general summary of how that went. Again, I was 3, so I don't really remember very well. But there's a lot of people that are starting to like ring some alarm bells. It's like, hey, these AI companies aren't actually making anything, and their company's worth billions and billions of dollars. Nvidia is one of the only ones that makes any sense, and it's because they make the physical product that all these companies are built on top of, I guess. But our stock market is not only propped up by debt, but is also propped up only by like the Mag 7, the 7 big tech in the tech companies right now. Nvidia, what is it? Like Nvidia, Apple, Tesla, I think Facebook's one of them. I mean, these companies are worth trillions of dollars, a couple of them are, and the stock market's doing great right now. Meanwhile, the whole rest of the economy is doing terrible. And people are starting to really notice, I guess. I think today I saw Verizon's going to lay off 15,000 employees. I didn't even know Verizon had 15,000 employees. It's insane to me. I guess, I don't know what I was looking at, but I see a Verizon store every once in a while around that has 2 people in it. I don't know how many people fucking work at Verizon. Maybe that's why my service costs $200 a month for 2 phones and unlimited data or whatever the hell, but don't know. Big companies, Amazon, Verizon now, laying people off left and right. The AI companies, the tech companies, the only companies doing well in the stock market. And the government comes out and says, yeah, we're not giving out the inflation data and we're not giving out the jobs report. It's been bad the past couple months. We'll just skip this one and see how it goes. Not the greatest indicator if I've ever seen it. Now, do I think this is the end of the world and today is the day that marks the market correction? We're going to go into like steep decline and market crash and all that stuff? No, I don't necessarily think that. But it's a little more foreboding. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, for me, I'll watch. They're trying to cut the rates down. That'll be beneficial to most people. If you bought a house recently and they cut the rates all the way back down way low, just save up some money, refinance your house. I mean, I got 60, 70 grand in my retirement accounts from work and stuff. I don't care. I'm letting it ride. I'm not paying any attention to it. I'll just keep buying. If the stock market goes down, I'm buying. If it goes up, I'm buying. Doesn't matter. For most regular people, I feel like the stock market is inconsequential. If you're about to retire, you might be in a different boat. But otherwise, I think a lot of people, especially my generation, younger, right around the same age, are all like, yeah, who cares? Burn it to the ground. At least we can try to jump in back at the ground level if we restart completely. That's your only hope, to not have to buy a $600,000 home in a subdivision on a quarter-acre lot. I don't know. You tell me. Are you worried about a AI bubble, stock market crash in the next year and a half? Because the news articles are starting to come out and say 2026 recession, U.S. AI bubble. Who knows where we go from here, but I don't think it looks all that pretty on the horizon. So Let me know what you guys think. Leave a like on the video if you got something out of it. Dislike if you didn't. And I appreciate if you subscribe to the channel. Catch you guys tomorrow.